Boston Cannons Championship Run 2020 Season Replay, brought to you by Suffolk Construction.
No relief in sight. While temperatures skyrocket, the acrobatics of Randy Stotts give Boston a big boost. It's game day, and Philadelphia expects Brendan Sunday to deliver on schedule. When the mashup continues, it's the Barrage and Cannons for Major League Lacrosse. Plenty of cannon fire on and off the field in Annapolis. Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium's the site. The Philadelphia Barrage squaring off against the Cannons with Major League Lacrosse. Today's clash is critical. By Friday night, only the top four in the standings make the playoffs. Chesapeake sitting pretty. Philly and Boston both needing wins to help strengthen their grip on the ladder. A very pleasant welcome to you. Alongside Quinn Kesnick, I'm Joe Bernanati. We'll get in touch with Courtney Fallon, our sideline reporter, in just a couple of minutes. Quinn, give us an idea. Size up these two clubs after 3 days of work.
Well, Philadelphia is a playoff contender. They picked up a big win over Connecticut yesterday. They need a little more midfield scoring, I think, if they're going to be an elite team in this league. Boston, coming off their first loss last night to Chesapeake, they can win this whole thing. They've just got to clean up some issues in terms of restarts. I think Boston and the Cannons have their strongest team in a long time.
Philadelphia, up and down like an elevator in their first three games, and I think a lot of that can be linked to the play of Mark Matthews.
Well, the former attackman out of Denver who led the Pioneers to championship weekend is now running midfield, so he's coming out of the substitution box. While his running motion isn't the smoothest, his hands are silky effective.
Boston's been fighting its own version of inconsistency, and if they're to be at their best, Challen Rogers likely to bring them there.
Last night, this over-the-shoulder goal here behind the backer was one of the gems of this tournament. He was a great player at Stony Brook, had over 100 assists. He's a big, strong, powerful midfielder, and he'll be one of the keys for the Cannons.
It is nice to have Courtney Fallon along for the ride as our sideline reporter. She has more on the story of two tired squads.
That's exactly it. It's a tale of two tired squads, just as you said, Joe. Quick turnaround for this Boston Cannons team, who after a 2-hour rain delay last night left the field close to midnight against the Bayhawks. They are exhausted. In the NFL, they call that a short week. In lacrosse, they call it just a minute's notice. This Boston squad, led by head coach Sean Quirk, said last night they played harder than they had ever done in this tournament, and they will rely on their confidence in running all over the field to get them through this week. As for Philly, fourth game in 4 straight games.
Busy. Today's starting goalkeepers are going to be presented by New Balance. It's all made for lacrosse. Nick Morocco a season ago was number 2 in Major League Lacrosse in terms of total saves. He'll stare down at the opposite end at Chris Madelon in the cage for the Philadelphia Barrage. Madelon had 11 stops in the opener against Chesapeake, 13 saves against Connecticut, so he's routinely in double figures when it comes to save totals. Off and running today, Peter Buchanan, Jason Parks, Adam Petrocarlo, and Chris Vahey are your officials. We are at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Philadelphia is in the orange, Boston in the blue. A critical game for these two squads. Reisman comes up with the ground ball, eventually for Boston.
Reset. You got one off.
Joe, day 4 of 7 of the round robin portion of this tournament, and this is where the dog days of summer are going to hit. What'd you do during the pandemic shutdown? Were you training in your backyard? Were you on the bike in the basement? Or were you eating bonbons? We find out today where conditioning will be critical.
Rogers is going to hook up there with Brian Cole. Cole's offensive game awakened last night. Boston at 1-1. They've beaten New York. They lost to Chesapeake an evening ago. Pass to the front there. That's gloved down and squared off by Morocco, or Madelon rather, for Philadelphia. The orange-clad Barrage have 20 seconds to clear the midline. That's no worry for Matt Witcher. 60 seconds of Major League Lacrosse on the shot clock. A 2-point arc, that's 16 yards from the goal. We work at this end 6-on-6, and Philadelphia's prolific attack trio, Jackson, Palasek, and Matthews can be a handful. Sunday working the perimeter, teaming up from the top with Tyson Gibson. Seen him have the ball on his lacrosse stick quite often. Little jitterbug move comes from John Mazza, the rookie out of Towson, who's acclimated his game nicely to the pro ranks. Shot clock's at 10. Gibson fires, and Morocco has the answer. Quint, it's always good for a netminder at any level, from Pee-wee to pro, to make a good, sharp stop on his first chance.
First touches, you know, Joe, from hockey. You want to get that puck touch. Well, for Morocco now, 2018 first-team All-American out of Georgetown. He's a Duxbury, Mass native. That's a good start. Not only was it a save, but it was caught. Really, you find your rhythm and find your confidence.
That's Quint Kesnick. I'm Joe Beninati. Courtney Fallon's on the sideline with us, and if you've been with us throughout the week, this 2020 pandemic-shortened Major League Lacrosse season, we've been talking about the heat, and it's another hot one in Annapolis, Maryland. Temperatures well above 90 degrees, way more than that on the field. Rogers lets a bouncer go that was blocked. Cannons will keep it hot. Shot clock's at 5. Wasserman drawing 2. A dunk attempt, score! Great diving effort by Cole.
This is ridiculous. Shot clock is not their friend. Wasserman sensed that he was up against it in terms of time. Cole sets the pick. For some reason, Philadelphia's defense nearly double teams Wasserman, so the ball rotates back to Cole. What's missing there defensively is that the backside of the defense has got to rotate down to that lower pipe. And Brian Cole, I think he's the barometer for this franchise right now. He and Randy Stotts are acquisitions. You think about adding those two players makes Boston a title contender, and a good start for Cole, the Maryland Terp.
Technically, Stotts and Cole were acquired from Philadelphia for P.T. Ritchie and 3 high draft picks. Woodall comes out of there with the ground ball and the face-off possession for Philadelphia. He's chased to the sideline, there to make the strip. 81 to the Matt Gilray. Scott Hooper helping out on the clear for the Cannons. This Boston squad, a season ago, 9-7 overall. They finished up as the number 3 seed. They lost to Denver in the Major League Lacrosse semifinals, a game that they felt they let slip out of their hands. Palasek, the fire starter for this squad's offensive attack, leaving it in the capable cross there of Kyle Marr.
Joe, in my eyes, and a lot of people who follow Major League Lacrosse, fans included, I think it's clear. Chesapeake and Boston are 1-2. Last night's game got away from Boston early, a 9-goal run from Chesapeake. They clawed back into it late, not enough.
People in Denver have an issue with you already. Up top it comes. Marr wants it again, working against the short stick D-mid of Edwards. Marr fidgets free. Off the flip there to McSpadden. His drive was knocked down in front. Loose ball right back to the youngster McSpadden from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Shot clock at 8. Over the top, this one zipped high by Palasek.
There's a noticeable drop-off for Philadelphia in their second midfield group. They just don't have a dodging threat in the unit that just ran off the field.
You can hear the officials, mic for sound, both benches, the goals. There's a lot of activity going on verbally. You'll be hearing throughout the day from field level the communications from the goalies to the defense now as Boston settles in for another 6-on-6. Riley O'Connor wears 45 in the blue, playing catch there with Cockerton. Carlson Milliken defending against O'Connor. Up top, it's Dearth. Another big, rugged midfielder for Boston. He sent that one wide of the cage. 25 seconds on the shot clock as we pass the 5-minute mark of the opening quarter. Stotts digging in, fancy behind the back pass. Stotts, who can be an electrifying feeder. Shot clock to 12. O'Connor, the former Georgetown Hoya captain, puts it outside the 2-point arc. Dearth powers is in. Little counter punch, sharp angle, didn't pull the trigger. O'Connor does. Madelon makes the save. A fresh 60 seconds for Boston.
Now this is tough on your defense. They get the reset off the deflection off of Madelon. You get a full 60. You see the offense catch their breath, and this is going to challenge the cardio, the communication, the organization in the heart of this defense.
O'Connor had a goal and an assist last night in the loss to Chesapeake. Boston in possession in blue. Cal Dirth, 24-year-old Connecticut native. Cockerton off the sweep right into the double of Milliken. Cockerton set free, he'll fire. Juggled by Madelon, and then he traps it in the crease.
He's still there, PT.
Clearing time for Eddie Buhal and the Barrage.
Easy stop for Madelon, the righty out of North Carolina, because Cockerton telegraphed. It's a low release to a low location. He's all over that Madelon. He snuffs that one out. And now you look for this Philadelphia offense to cool their heels, Joe, to rest their knee a bit.
We had the chance to catch up with Spencer Ford earlier in the day, Quint, and he said that Tim Barber, the midfielder, was questionable as we continue to look for number 9's availability today. Barrage have possession of the ball.
Well, I like the group they have on the field right now. This could be a very potent midfield. I just see a drop-off in their second and third middies.
Gibson against Yazo Scaparata. This will dribble right to the doorstep. Morocco's waiting. Just one goal on the board belongs to Boston's Brian Cole. Cole, who a season ago converted 50.7% of his shots, second best in the entire league.
He had nearly 40 goals last year, Joe, with 14 assists. Brian Cole put up giant assist numbers at Maryland. 3 title game appearances for the Terps, one of many, many hard shells playing pro lacrosse.
Cole and Kyle Jackson working on the outside. Rogers sets the pick. Ball down. Barrage with a good defensive stand here, and now it's P.T. Ritchie to clear. Working back, it's Anthony Jokum in transition. Give and go with Burns. He'll fire, and Morocco stabs that. Burns, the long stick defender, comes up with a rebound and maintains possession for Philly. Matt Witcher getting his teammates on the same page. Witcher runs into the alley and then finds the open man, Shane Jackson, the Indoor League MVP.
That was sensational transition lacrosse, both ways. Philly, they had the little trailer break. It was like a 5-on-4. You see the poles and the defensive midfielders handle, and then Morocco, the lefty, scoops that one. Left side bouncer.
Minikis picked up by the long stick midfielder Corcoran. Neat little swim move. Severe angle, though he couldn't pull the trigger. Throw it back over the top and a bit too tall for Jackson. This will belong to Boston. 6 minutes and 28 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Nick Morocco back stopping the efforts of the Boston Cannons. Sharp from the outset here in Annapolis.
All right, we'll make sure.
Capital A and
No
Chick-fil-A
problem.
came from?
Check, check, check. Hey there, 1, 2.
Where's Talon? Talon! Got it? Okay, so we're going to go to Talon, and Jackson. You and Gilray, you're down low. You're down low. Hey, fellas, keep it. You good? Hey, boys. Let's go. Be competitive in every aspect.
Assembly, not far off in the distance from Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium here in Annapolis, the capital city of Maryland. Sean Quirk's now in his 5th year at the controls of the Boston Cannons. Simply, matter-of-factly, today he told us Boston has to be playing hard and smart today.
Well, there's no lineup changes for them. They've been a little too inconsistent. they've got to dictate tempo with their defense. And one thing I noticed from last night's game is clean up some restarts. That is, change of possession on a whistle. I think they were caught off guard on a couple of those scenarios, and it cost them goals. Coach Quirk is a proven coaching commodity. Love the work he did for Endicott College. He's an associate athletic director there right now. He's great for us to work with because he's crystal clear. Like, you get honest, he's authentic, you get full honesty and transparency from him. I love talking to him.
Figures just another All-American goalie during his playing days at the D2 level at Springfield. There's Spencer Ford, former Major League Lacrosse All-Star, a guy who's known his way around this league at many different levels, from player to the executive ranks.
Spencer Ford was a great passer. I mean, like, he could see dead people. That's how good he was finding guys. LA Riptide, I believe, at one point. It seemed like Spencer got better as he got older, too. Smart.
Officiating crew getting things coordinated. When we resume, it'll be Boston ball. If you're just tuning in, low scoring in the first 8.5 minutes. Spencer Ford's squad hasn't put its name on the score sheet just yet. Brian Cole, the lone tally for Boston, the same Brian Cole who was on the board in 14 of 15 games last year with Atlanta.
Cole, as I said, Cole and Stotts are two barometer players for the Cannons. You mentioned slow tempo, and I think we're going to see the games slow down through the course of the week unless a team gets an off day. Again, Boston played last night. They didn't get off the field till late. You're going to see a more half-court type game.
Courtney Fallon, our sideline reporter, she was telling us prior to the game, both of these teams obviously needing to recharge the batteries, but this game is so critical, you would imagine the adrenaline will carry them through. Challen Rogers' pass winds up down on the turf towards the end line and out of bounds.
Boston's been operating with a lot of two-man games. Okay, that's the pick and roll, the pick and slip. So far, Philadelphia has done wonderful work defensively, communicating through those scenarios.
Hewitt makes sense. O'Connor, Canada. Cockerton, Canada. Stotts, Canada.
Yeah. No, it fits their personnel. Philly's done a good job. They're kind of backing in, slow playing it, almost baiting the outside shot, and I'm not sure Boston has that type of shooters with range.
Matthews, who had the huge day yesterday with 4 goals and 2 assists against Connecticut. The Hammerheads were beaten by these Barrage. Matthews can be a wizard with his lacrosse stick.
His hands are ridiculous.
Palasek digging in against Hooper, who has more defensive responsibilities for the Cannons this summer. Bringing on around for Sunday, just outside the arc. Shot clock at 12. Morocco stays razor sharp from the outset.
Effective offense. Sunday, though, chooses to go to his weak left hand, and Morocco plays his angles well. The lefty seals that near post. I like the look from Philadelphia, quite honestly. They get Sunday, who's one of their better attackmen, isolated against the shorty. He gains enough traction to take a decent shot, but Morocco, you said it, Joe. You called it after his first save. That bodes well, and he's been locked in.
His comfort level looks really good. His 4 stops already would indicate in the first 11 minutes. Boston now at the business end offensively. Flag down. Extra man soon for the Cannons. Buhal there putting the pressure on defensively. Stotts goes behind the back over the head. Long drive. Sent wide of the goal. Frank Brown doing the honors. Didn't play in Major League Lacrosse last summer.
Great player for Hobart. Big 6'3", 210. NEC Player of the Year as a senior.
Chance for us to catch our breath. Will Noweshnik and the Barrage entertaining Boston here in Annapolis. The Cannons on the board first with a lone salvo.
go. Hey, boxing. What's going on, right? Go. Come on, boys. Let's get up. Go. Go up, man. Here you go, Boyle.
Quit, we've seen really good goaltending early on. Chris Madelon won half of that equation.
Watch, ready, go, and next. It's what you're saying to yourself off the bus. Madelon from North Carolina, he's 32 years old. Morocco just a handful, 2 years out of Georgetown where he's a first-team All-American. But the second you step off the bus, watch the ball. Always be ready. Be aggressive. Go get it. And then if you do give up a goal, hit that reset button.
Madelon trying to go get it now against Boston's extra man unit. First EMO of the day either way. Stotts is behind the cage. Jalen Rogers has a long distance shooting stroke. He teams up with Cole. Flip it over the top, move it to the weak side for Wasserman. Stotts and Cockerton, the pass to the front, knocked down nicely by Witcher. And Philadelphia is ready to clear.
Air traffic control by Witcher out of York College. It's good defense. Protect the middle. Deny the paint when you're man down. The O's looking for skip passes and through passes, just like the hockey power play.
We understand that prize rookie Mark Ivanchek not available today, Quinn. Burns, Nowesnik, Buhal going to handle the lion's share of the close defense for Philadelphia. Kyle Moore in his second pro season out of Johns Hopkins, walking casually and teaming up with Colin Minikis, who played Division III ball at Amherst.
Well, this grueling format is going to have its casualties along the way. Talking to the players, they felt it was like a sprint, but a marathon. So it's like setting a 6-minute mile pace for a week.
Palasek drifting in against Corcoran. Philadelphia in the orange uniforms. Shane Jackson, 2 seconds in the shot clock. A violation against Philadelphia. Very low scoring in this opening quarter, just a single goal on the board. Brian Cole providing it. Sloppiness on both sides, the turnover story even at 4. Cannons with Ben Spencer in possession off the split. He'll fire. Madelon had no trouble rejecting that. Buhal to an open Milliken. Carlson, Milliken will bring it ahead. So many of these players have dealt with their injuries at various levels, whether it be collegiate or pro. Milliken had a torn ACL while he was at Notre Dame.
Graduated from Virginia. He was able to take an extra year at Notre Dame, and at the time, Jerry Byrne, their defensive coordinator, said he was their best cover man, including their poles, many of whom are playing in this league now.
Mazza gets doubled, looks for the open man, but sends that one too tall for Shane Jackson. Another turnover.
Those are the killers, Joe, the unforced ones. Look, this game is played fast, it's played hard, it's a reactionary sport. You're going to make mistakes, you're not going to be perfect, but those type of errors, you're not going to be holding the championship cup if you continue to throw the ball away.
This 2020 regular season in Major League Lacrosse set in 9 days from the 18th to the 26th of July. Our championship game on ESPN, 2 p.m. Eastern. A quick drive, Riley O'Connor tallies.
Hoya's making an impact today. First in the goal with Morocco, and then you got Riley O'Connor, 2015 Hoya. Steps in left-handed and lets it rip. Kind of a knee-high release, and watch how this ball rises. Finishes up by the shoulder of the goaltender. O'Connor, the lefty. He works at the Hill Academy for Brody Merrill. Plays indoor, and he was a strong captain for the Georgetown team.
There's another guy from the Hill Academy who dropped his stick there. Helpless feeling for Anthony Jokum. Nothing he can do. Defensively, Boston gets on the board. Reisman on the exchange with Matt Gilray. Going to the goal here. Worming his way to the cage. Madelon takes it, though, in the crease.
We talk about changing levels all the time, and that end zone view is a great view for the young shooters. Step in, he plants his feet, he drops his stick low. As a goalie, you have to respect that. So you're going to bend your knees, drop your hips, match your stick on his stick. Boom, next thing you know, the ball's sailing to the top portion of the goal. It's a good deception by the shooter.
Philadelphia gets a well-deserved day off tomorrow. 4 games in 4 days for them to start the Major League Lacrosse season, including today. Final 30 seconds of the quarter, and Tyson Gibson's in no hurry. Being guarded there by John Yazo Scaparata, played collegiately at Brown. Gibson hovering behind the cage. Shot clock's at 10. Stutter step move, not fooling Yazo Scaparata one bit. Oh! A magnificent wraparound goal. Tyson Gibson.
Hey, everybody, let's go. Let's go. We're good, guys. Let's go. Let's go, man. Let's go. Hey, let's go.
This is ridiculous.
Knock it off.
I mean, he was being marked up pretty well. Shake and bake fakes. Defense is still in pretty good position, but the backhanded shot, he reaches around him. Nothing Morocco could do as he's holding that near post. Man, that Lyle Thompson created backhand shot now continuing to become a staple of dodging from X.
Tyson Gibson, you can see the nameplate on his back reading Toomb, T-O-O-M-B, in honor of Jack Toomb, his Robert Morris lacrosse teammate who passed away back in March at age 23. Gibson honoring Toomb and doing so with a spectacular move there to get Philadelphia on the score sheet. Gibson, who had a couple of goals in the season opener against Chesapeake. This Philadelphia team at 1-2. They scramble for it off the draw. And the buzzer and whistles blare out after 15 minutes. We are done with 1 quarter. Madelon and the Barrage tangling with the Cockerton and the Cannons. A 2-1 lead for Boston after 15. The Barrage waited a while to get on the goal. And when they did so in style. Just about set to start the second quarter today between the Barrage and the Cannons. Morocco in the cage for Boston, Madelon for Philly. A lot to ask of these netminders among the 6 teams in Major League Lacrosse. And should there be need for an emergency backup, enter Fernando.
Fernando is my least favorite ABBA song.
Thank goodness.
And I love ABBA. But Ronnie's from Concordia, Irvine, California, 2016 MCLA goalie. And he's basically got the beeper on right now. So he's waiting for one of these teams in this event to suffer a goalie injury, and he's going to get the call. What do you call that? The emergency?
In the NHL, they call it the E-bug.
E-bug.
Emergency backup goalie, E-bug.
They had one this year.
Oh, did they ever?
Who had the big performance?
Oh my gosh, the guy lives in Toronto. He beat the Maple Leafs with Carolina. That went over really well. Pugel ready to go for Boston, 77 in the blue. Justin Pugel with a heavily wrapped left leg. He was the man who was injured late in the season with a torn ACL a year ago.
Have you ever met the Capitals E-bug?
There are several E-bugs around the NHL parts, yes. Thankfully only one with Major League Lacrosse to be, we'll know exactly when Ronnie's got the beeper going. Hopefully, not necessary. Challen Rogers has the ball, a brilliant opening goal an evening ago. Boston falling to Chesapeake. Stotts picking up another 4-assist performance. Did so earlier in the tournament against New York. On the go, Cole leads in, shot clock's at 7. Rogers feeds it, 2-man game with Cole. Shot clock at 2. And this one is pumped wide.
Once again, Philadelphia's defense in orange, the Barrage, they've done really well. Will Nowesnick matching up against Stotts. He's held his own. He's shut down Stotts in that low corner. And then the midfielders handling the two-man games, whether it's a switch or a stay at home. The guys in orange have not been outflanked with the pick and roll game.
Scouting report on Nowesnick says tough, physical, ready to match up against the bull of an assignment that the other team might present. Palisek gets some room, zips it for Jackson, he fires, it's fought off by Morocco.
Morocco technically sound. You think about Georgetown, he was a first-team All-American. Well, this year's first-team All-American, the shortened season was from Georgetown as well. It was Owen McElroy from Georgia. So you got to ask yourself, who's coaching the goalies at Georgetown? Well, that'd be David Shriver.
Nicely done.
Guy I've known for a long time. He's just doing good work. I mean, the goaltending position is thoroughly undercoached at the college level, but not at Georgetown.
And he's a really good backyard golfer.
Ball's out of bounds. Ball's already out of bounds.
Yeah, he lives like right over here in this neighborhood to our right, Joe.
Does he?
Yes, walking distance.
Who's already back here?
Riley O'Connor getting reset for this ball to come in off the end line.
So does John Tillman, who invited us over after these games.
I did hear that, yes. Stotts on the move against Burns. That's an all-star matchup. Burns, the defender of the year, could be flagged here. Flag is down. Peter Buchanan is heading up our officiating crew.
Oh, I don't know what we got here. What number?
That's
21.
Chris Vahey
21
signaling
red.
the
Hold.
hold.
21.
21.
21.
These are high-level
Philly 21.
Division I college officials who have worked NCAA playoff and championship games. As you look at the easy hold call, hook and drag down. These refs, like the athletes, they're part of the protocol, they're part of the bubble. They're also getting their exercise in extreme heat, taking care of themselves in terms of hydration, electrolytes.
During the pandemic, these players transported to and from the hotel to the field, back and forth,
Hey, put him in the
not
corner, we're
deviating
out.
over
Hey,
these 9 days.
41 all the way to the pylon. Hey, push him out. Push him out. We went out. There you go.
Extra man opportunity for Boston. Cannons on the lead thanks to a strike from Riley O'Connor. Rogers thought about the two. Cole dances in. His pass is off the cross of Wasserman, chased down by Buhal. On the scoop, it belongs to Wasserman. Philadelphia back to even strength. Stotts against the short stick defense of Witcher. Stotts loosens himself up. Good job by Witcher there. Inside, a great save. Madelon with a beauty against Kyle Jackson.
Left side of your screen, locate the ball, turn quickly, find it in the shooter's pocket. That seemed like, I want to say a guess, Joe. It's just wonderful anticipation and a strong move with his top hand.
Mazza not able to beat Morocco, and he'll find the assistant captain, Zach Goodrich, on the clear.
That's too easy for Morocco, who's pumping his fist behind the play like he's Tiger Woods.
Phew, the old goalie in me is very envious of the red, white, and blue mesh kit from Morocco. Very, very nice. He's styling in gold today.
I'm envious of the neon yellow ball.
Nice to see, right? You can see it. You can pick it up nice and clean.
Come on, guys, talk about it.
2-1 Boston, 5 minutes into the second quarter. Wasserman wants to go on Buhal. No running room. Brown picked up on the perimeter by Burns, who led all of Major League Lacrosse in caused turnovers last year. Stotts' turn to carry. Gets topside. Right on his hands is Buhal. Stotts gets to the interior. Chested down by Madelon, and he comes up with the scoop. You hear the sidelines barking out, trying to work over the officials. A hard hit on the sideline that sends Whitmire tumbling, and there's a flag.
Fight blue. Push. Fight blue. Push.
Relax there, pal. Relax.
Dirth is on his way to the box. We are low scoring because of good goaltending.
Look at Morocco. Terrific technique. Drives his top hand to that one. That's an easy stop. This one's off the chest. Good positioning by Madelon. Both of these guys locked in.
Hey, let's go. We got minutes. Hey, minutes this is in for time. All right, wait. 30 seconds more. Hey.
We say one up.
Hey, great job, Jay. Great job. Mercy.
Storyline of the game so far today between Boston and Philadelphia, the saves from goaltenders Morocco and Madelon.
Morocco right now, 88%. Madelon, 75%.
Here we are, gentlemen.
So they are both well above par. I mean, anything in the 55% range in this league is exceptional. So you think about how they've done it. I've always felt that hot days, Joe, favor the goalie. On a hot day, the goalie doesn't have to run. So you're really comfortable, you're loose. Everybody else is getting tired.
Beautiful backdoor play, and it's a slam dunk for Shane Jackson.
Nobody's saving this one. I mean, not even Hector the Rejector. This play coming out off the stoppage, just perfection. Backside feed right on the money. One touch for Jackson. Guy who took the hard road to get here. Community college, played at Limestone, a D2 team. Along the way, he had a lot of tough moments where he wasn't the all-star. He wasn't the best guy on this team, but he kept fighting, and here he is, scoring goals as a 29-year-old pro lacrosse player.
2-2 contest, 6 minutes into the second quarter as we check in with Courtney Fallon. She was within earshot of Boston head coach Sean Quirk.
That's right, Joe. I've got to do a better job with substitution. That was what Sean Quirk was saying throughout these last couple of possessions. Remember, Boston just played last night until midnight, so obviously these two teams needing those fresh legs, and he needs to get his guys in a heavy rotation, especially given the offensive possessions.
Wanted to make sure his team would be ready to take care of business, and in his words, play a complete game today. Philadelphia in orange, Boston in blue. Shane Jackson, the last man on the board. Quint, you told me he used to watch bootleg tapes of college games in his younger days.
Well, Zach Greer was his hero, so he definitely had the Duke Johns Hopkins national championship game. Courtney's point, Joe, about Boston's substitution is really astute, especially coming off last night, where, as I said earlier, they weren't good off of restarts. A lot of times there's indecision there. Do we sub or do you get back on defense?
Mazza stopped twice by Morocco, the second of which came off the invert. Morocco continues to be stout between the pipes for Boston. Watch the English on this.
Backspin on the line. The ball must entirely cross the goal line. The line equates to the pipe.
2-2. It was 2-1 in favor of Boston after 15 minutes. Carlson Milliken providing the short stick D now for the Barrage. Buholland back against Wasserman, who has great speed to attack with. Into the alley. The feed, the shovel for Wasserman. One more for Stotts. Stotts trying to beat the double. Wasserman keeps it hot. That's deflected. Excellent defensive stand there by Philadelphia.
Yes, sir. Joe, it looks like they're playing with 6 or 7 guys on defense. Another look at the English. The goal line is an extension of the pipe. So the entire ball must cross the goal line. Nice view. It's Philly defense. These guys in orange, man, they're flying around.
Philly doing a little hidden ball trick there. Marr was trying to fool the Boston defense.
Matthews and Sunday have to be stars if Philly's going to win this week.
Matthews with it right now. He has the defender Pugel hung up. Matthews sightseeing from behind the goal. Pugel into the goal crease with Morocco. They flush him out. Matthews fires. It's wide. Backed up quickly. Marr on the sneak. Just sent it high and wide.
And I say that because if Sunday and Matthews can dominate, win their matchups, then guys like Kyle Marr are going to get those feet set looks. Guys like Palasek is going to be given too much real estate.
Long drive from Sunday that was deflected by Rogers. Out of bounds it goes. Once again, a reminder, Philadelphia without Tim Barber today. He's had a bit of a tender hamstring he's been dealing with.
Matthews, you see him not walking that smoothly. Look, he's 30 years old. He's been in this league for a long time. He played at Ohio, Atlanta, New York, Denver, and now Philly. Proven goal scorer. But wear and tear is a storyline this week.
Quint, I have him for 6 different teams, Mark Matthews, during his pro days. This is the 20th anniversary season of Major League Lacrosse. It was supposed to begin on May 30th and run just about 10 weeks, but now the teams that ultimately land in the playoffs and the championship game will be playing 7 games in 9 days. We will crown a champion this coming Sunday. Buhal out on Wasserman. 2-2 we remain, just 5 minutes left in this opening half. Stick around at the halftime break. Quint and I will share a little video review of 2 of the lacrosse world's famous and greatest family names, namely Gate and Powell. This is over and back. The ball belongs to Philadelphia. They want the quick restart. The officials holding them up as we have a timeout. The World War II Memorial here in Annapolis, Philadelphia, and Boston. Deadlocked at 2 apiece. Stay right there. Low-scoring affair between Philadelphia and Boston, tied up at 2. Tail end of the second quarter. Our first half game highlight presented by Sector Spider ETFs, the next chapter in investing.
9 passes for the offense on this extra man goal. I want you to watch the defense. It's a pretty elementary rotation concept. Freeze it right here. Scudin's going to come across. Gilray's got to get down the backside. Jackson is going to position himself right here. Watch this work now. Scudin comes across to get his man. But Gilray's a half a second left, and Jackson is perched on the pipe. You've got to get down the backside when you slide or rotate on the carousel defensively.
Philadelphia, Quint, in its game yesterday, the win over the Connecticut Hammerheads, Philadelphia was 3 for 5 on the extra man. Mazza carries here for the Barrage in the orange, picked up by Goodrich. Goodrich was the youngest man on the field last year right here at the Major League Lacrosse All-Star Game. Morocco adds to his save total and sends Boston the other direction with Jason Brewster.
I like the take by Marr. It was a crafty little move, a spin move. Set up his strong left hand. I just think he forgot that Morocco's a lefty. That shot probably is a goal against a right-handed goalie.
Lots of lefties in this Major League Lacrosse season that we can see. Scanoni's lefty.
Washuda later today?
Yes, of Denver. Corrigan with New York. 9 stops so far for Morocco. Goodrich gets into the alley against Tyson Gibson.
Okay, make sure we're picking right inside.
Buhal picking up on Wasserman. Shot clock's at 10. 3.5 to go in the half.
Wasserman, blinding speed.
Lets this one fly. That's no trouble for Madelon, and he quickly clamps onto that. Wasserman, who had 4 goals against New York, 3 against Chesapeake.
Wasserman is best in space, Joe, when he can just, boom, put the gas like you on the I-97 in your Beamer.
Uh-huh. You can hear the officials. Flag down. Extra man soon to come for Philadelphia. Matt Witcher just hanging out. Barrage assistant coach, longtime Major League Lacrosse star Jamie Hanford says Witcher could be really good at this level. Pass gets away from Sunday, and now Philadelphia goes extra man with 2:49 to go.
Hey, Jason, 95. Offside. 30. I got you, man. I can walk over. Yeah, I gotta get my steps in, man. Hey, we're resetting.
I like
yeah,
those
so
old.
Scaparata will step out.
Yeah, I like those old school wristbands that the officials wearing. It's like you out on the tennis court back in the day.
You realize that those are identifiers for our crew, right?
Well, I thought they were, tennis wristbands.
Different colors for different guys.
Like our former producer used to wear.
Yes.
Michael Vetter.
Yeah, very good. Yes, very good.
And Jerome Ingram.
Outside feed off the crossbar there from Sunday. The long ricochet goes out of bounds.
It's a story for the book, folks.
Yes.
Early days of Major League Lacrosse. We played tennis in the morning of a game day with our producer and Jerome. And Vetter on a poor loft I hit, Joe. Vetter went up for it. Remember what happened?
Yeah, I do remember. That was a leg injury.
So Michael Vetter torched his Achilles.
Yeah.
So here he is, our producer director in the truck that day with his leg up on the console.
How much time, sir?
Well, Jerome, as it turns out, is the absolute ringer, like the best tennis player we've ever encountered. And Joe's very good, folks. Joe Beninati is an excellent tennis player.
Messer, Zolatoro, and Kate do not want to tear any hamstrings or Achilles on this show.
But Vetter talked us into this match. We had no idea that Jerome could play. Jerome is a superstar, like
he was
collegiate
good.
level. Romy, hope you're watching, buddy.
2-2. Coach Quirk there within earshot of the official Adam Petrocarlo. It's one of the great things, though, about sports on television, Quint. Yeah, 2 teams on the field, but another team of talented technicians and production people for our Major League Lacrosse festivities this week.
Our folks are going to be here all week.
55, Adam.
2 games a day. They started off with a triple header on Saturday.
We gotta wait, guys.
I think it's everybody is really fortunate and glad to be back working.
12 on the foul.
You're not hearing any complaints because of the heat. We love what we do, and we hope the fans understand that.
Back right.
Everybody's being safe and smart.
Back left.
Morocco continues to talk his defense through this sequence.
Reset!
Good takeaway on the steal. Corcoran will run. He has the 4-on-3 break. Corcoran's going to call his own number and score.
Hey, are we all even? The foul? It's released? Thank you.
All even. All even.
I mean, this is a daily double of defensive excellence by Corcoran.
Won this quarter, right?
Merrimack College. Clean pick. Now, here's your decision-making process. How are they playing me? Well, they're not going to pick me up. They're going to slow play me. They're going to do what's called a hold on the fast break and kind of bait that outside shot. He does a wonderful job with his footwork, swiveling his hips, taking that little hop step, turning his left hip towards the goal, and he's able to release a nice overhand shot that finds the low corner. He keeps it simple. Just a textbook steal, run out, and score by Corcoran.
Woodall wins the draw cleanly, gets it into Brendan Sunday's cross. That goal from Corcoran ending a scoreless drought for Boston, better than 14 minutes, giving them a 3-2 lead. Waning stages of this opening half, 80 seconds left in it or thereabouts.
That shot he took, Joe, is something that young defenders need to rehearse and practice after or before practice.
Corcoran had a goal against New York in the opener this season for Boston. Fine year last year with the Lizards, and a great move from a sharp angle. On the finish, Gibson provides.
I tell you, one thing the indoor NLL and box lacrosse has done, like there's an insane, severe sliver of an angle shooters now playing in this game. These are shots that people didn't even try 10 years ago. I mean, he's well covered, using the defender kind of as a screen. From close range, Morocco guesses low. He drops the head of his stick and kind of shrugs. Ball's in the top shelf. Turn and rake. What a shot.
First of 2 games for you today with Major League Lacrosse in Annapolis. 3-3 Boston and Philly. We have Denver and New York to follow. Estimated start time around 7 p.m. Eastern. Cannons have possession here. There is a 3-second disparity between the shot clock and the game clock, so Boston can hold it for pretty much the remainder of the half. Cole, recognizing that now, will pull it back out. Jackson and Rogers trot in off the sideline. Time clock down to 30 seconds right now. Rogers on the hop, around the pick. Little 2-man game. Finds Cole. Wasserman is next in line. Here comes the speed. Wasserman scores!
This is exactly what I was talking about, how he's a space player. What'd we say? Joe Beninati and his Beamer on I-97? Well, there's Wasserman, man. He puts it into turbo, and he clears a good 2 or 3 step advantage. Again, but he needs real estate. He needs space. He's not the type of player that operates in the phone booth. You give him real estate. You give him green turf, and the former high school football player and lacrosse player from Texas is going to smoke you.
If he's driving by car, he's using the hand paddles. Click, 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 and speeding his way to the cage. 4-3 Boston with 21 seconds remaining in the half. Reisman, an all-star, wins the draw, 32 in the blue for these Cannons. Boston at 1-1, Philly at 1-2. The Barrage finally get a day off tomorrow. They'd like to head into that day off with a level record. Chesapeake on top of the standings at 3-0. This is a trailer drive that's sent wide by Bird.
Woodall didn't take that face off. That's a storyline for the second half.
Witcher lost it there before he cranked it up, and that's going to do it for 30 minutes of play. Nick Morocco, definitely one of the heroes in the opening half, as Madelon did his best to stay with him save for save. Boston and Philly just a mere 7 points on the board through 30 minutes.
Both goaltenders absolutely razor sharp. Tyson Gibson with a pair for Philadelphia. Corcoran with the transition goal, and then Wasserman with that burst of speed.
2 teams going to be able to cool their heels for a little while. Temperatures again Better than 90 degrees in these parts and over 100 on the turf as we visit with Courtney Fallon. She chit-chats with Tyson Gibson.
Pretty low-scoring affair, but Tyson, you were able to notch 2 goals. How were you able to soften Boston's defense? What did you see?
Yeah, we wanted to emphasize the point on patience this game and really possess the ball, especially give our D some more time to rest. But you know, I thought we did a great job just passing the ball around and really conserving the time and taking great shots, and you know, give the other goalie credit. He's making some good saves out there.
4 straight games in this sweltering heat. What effect does the elements have on your body?
Yeah, it's definitely not easy, and especially being in quarantine for a couple months. Getting on the sun like this is it's definitely been an eye-opener, but you know, we're all trying to stay positive and drink as much water as we can just to get through the heat.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Courtney and Tyson, thank you. Stay hydrated, boys and girls. 4-3. Boston has the lead after 30 minutes of play at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. A first half that featured a lot of great goaltending, but there were goals too. Reminder, the Gates and the Powells in focus right after this. More of Major League Lacrosse. Joe Beninati and Quint Kesnick with you here from Annapolis. And Quint, we've been lucky to document some incredible escapades in Major League Lacrosse over 20 years. When you think about it, what's the foundation of this league been built upon?
Well, you go back to the year 2001. It's when college players used to just disappear after brilliant careers. But guys like the Gate brothers and the Powell brothers were able to build on that success as college players and then become megastars across the country. And to me, those guys are the Mount Rushmore of Major League Lacrosse.
We are about to look at 2 family names that are synonymous with lacrosse success, beginning with the great Gates.
Well, Gary and Paul Gate played at Syracuse in the late 80s. They got out of there in 1990 after winning 3 titles, and Gary was an amazing player in this league. First as a midfielder, then he switched down to attack, and would eventually coach the 2005 Bayhawks. So productive, creative, always represented this league in the finest of fashion.
Twin brothers, twin turbo engines, superpower.
And Paul had a monstrous game in the inaugural championship with more than a handful of goals and a title.
Fast forward to the electrifying Powell family.
Mikey Powell, the youngest of the group, a freak show athlete. I mean, quite honestly, nobody can cut, and I still haven't seen a player cut the way he does. His ability to decelerate, plant, and change directions, he made defenders look silly. Now, his career was short, but it was extremely productive.
Just take any look through the record books. You're going to see the name Powell everywhere. Ryan Powell, twice an MVP in this league.
I think Ryan's my favorite Powell. I just loved what he meant. He was a great teammate and a great captain.
Oh, by the way, Casey is on line 1 saying, "What do you mean, your favorite Powell?"
Well, when it comes to longevity, Casey played for a long time, 122 games. He won the MVP back in 2014 when he was in his upper 30s.
So much fun to watch the greatest of the greats in Major League Lacrosse, the Powells and the Gates. Stay right there with us. Quint and I will return in just a few moments. We'll have highlights and stats from today's game. Am I teasing anything for the next segment or no? Okay, cue ball, where do you want to go?
My points are going to be Boston's 1, 7 of 9. Yes!
B-roll is starting with Madelon. Thank you.
And a little bit of a slowed down game.
What have you seen so far? Yes, sir. It's lonely here in Annapolis without you lacrosse fans as we continue Major League Lacrosse. Boston and Philadelphia at the halftime break with the Cannons on top by 1. 3 goals shared in the final 2 minutes of that opening half. Joe Beninati, Quinn Kesnick with you. And Q, we mentioned that these two teams are coming into this matchup a bit tired. What have you seen so far?
Well, unpredictable. And we've covered this league, Joe, for long enough to know that you never quite expect to see something new. And this is kind of new. This is a low-scoring game, given the inferno they're playing and given they've played multiple games over the course of a short week. So this is a defensive goaltending half-court game.
He said it. He said goaltending. That means we begin our highlight bed with plenty of stops. First from Chris Madelon.
Well, Madelon's not a youngster anymore. He's more than 30 years old, but he's put together a fine first half. Both of these goalies, 9 saves for Nick Morocco, the second-year pro out of Georgetown, who was a first-team All-American. I think if you're a young goalie watching Morocco, look at his positioning. I mean, he's always square to the shooter. He's always positioned perfectly between his pipes. From a technical standpoint, he's as buttoned up as it gets. And this, in my eyes, Joe, is really the difference in this ball game. A transition goal by Scott Corcoran.
Philadelphia would answer. That's an amazing shot from Gibson.
Wasserman comes back with the isolation goal. A couple things that stand out. Again, this is a half-court game. 2 tired teams playing in hot, excruciating conditions. The one thing that stands out to me, though, face-offs. Surprise, Boston has won 7 of 9.
Those first half stats presented by Warrior. Play to win. We are getting set for the final 30 minutes of regulation time. We'll bring it your way from Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in the beautiful city of Annapolis, Maryland. When you return.
That's like a classic offhand shot. It's like more fundamental than usual. He's just throwing it at that back.
It all began in Major League Lacrosse in 2001. 20 years, 20 seasons of Major League Lacrosse unfolding this week in Annapolis, Maryland, as Chris Madelon gets warmed up for the start of the third quarter between the pipes for the Philadelphia Barrage. 4-3, Boston has the lead at the halftime break. The goal from Bryce Wasserman. He's kind enough to join our Courtney Fallon.
Bryce, obviously a very low-scoring game. What area can we see the Boston offense attack in the second half?
Yeah, we just got to be more efficient on offense, right? We're taking a lot of possessions without even getting a shot and challenging Madelon. Credit him. He's had some big saves in that first half, but we just got to pepper him a little bit and they'll start falling.
What about the goalies? Speaking of Chris Madelon on Philly, talk about your own goalie. How confident are you guys that you have him in net?
Yeah, having Nick Morocco in there, it's incredible, man. He's an awesome goalie. He's doing a great job of clearing the ball, too, which is something that we had to work on. So we're very happy with having one back there in net for us.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thanks.
Number 1 in net, number 2 attacking the Cannons cage today, or rather the Barrage cage, as Boston is in the blue. Nick Morocco, an all-star keeper, backstopping the efforts of these Boston Cannons.
Most impressive to me defensively has been Philadelphia's defense, defending the two-man game, the pick and roll, pick and slip, the way they've managed those matchups, whether it's switching or staying or double teaming. And then conversely, I think Boston's defense has done a really good job just one-on-one coverage of guys like Sunday and Matthews. They haven't been forced to slide or double team very much. They've really held their own on the perimeter.
Belated birthday wishes to Major League Lacrosse Commissioner Sandy Brown. Spencer Ford is the guy who's in charge of that Philadelphia bench. It was Sandy Brown who told us, pretty much touch and go for a while whether or not there would be a Major League Lacrosse 2020 season during the pandemic, but greatly appreciative to Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, to Vice Admiral Sean Burke, the superintendent of the Naval Academy, to the event coordinator Buddy Rose for all they've done. And you see the face-off story. Good news for Philly. We see 3 in orange out there. Alex Woodall ready to start the third quarter.
Yeah, he's not 100%. Not sure if it's an injury. He fought through some hamstring issues while at Towson. A brilliant career for head coach Sean Nadlin. Number 1 overall pick in Major League Lacrosse draft.
Face-off possession to start quarter 3 for the boys in blue. Boston Cannons, just once in their history have they won the Major League Lacrosse title. It happened in 2011, and it happened right here in the middle of a hurricane.
Last thing about Woodall, Joe, he's the only Fogo Philly brought here, which to me, with a 25-man roster, may be one of the poorest decisions that I've ever seen.
Spencer Ford agonized over it, Quint. He did.
You've got to have 2 Fogos when your roster is 25 deep.
He had faith that Woodall could take 30 or 40 draws a game and do it day after day. So far,
we've seen him banged up. Max Adler coming up in our next game for Denver's already banged up.
Chesapeake's John Page. Cole working in here, fidgets away from Buhal. Long drive that goes wide of the goal from Randy Stubbs.
2 seconds. Lock up! Lock up! Lock up! Lock inside! Great kill, guys! Let's go, boys.
Less than 2 minutes into quarter 3.
Hey, spread out, Will.
Orange-clad Philadelphia moving it away.
Say Buhal, Burns, the long poles. Love this kid, 33, Matt Witcher. This Philly defense is showing us something today.
Sunday hiding out behind the cage. Pugel is there to tend to him. Hooper looking after Palasek. Palasek among the scoring leaders a season ago. Then with the Atlanta Blaze. Marr on the hop against Edwards on the perimeter. Works goal line extended, forced back away. That pass in tight quarters gets away, and down on the deck it'll be Boston running with it. Very good off the ground, Michael Scudin, an assistant captain for these Cannons. Lets this one go, and he sizzled it high.
Scudin's a really good player. He's been playing in this league for a long time. Goes back to 2012. He's got 2 rings. I forgot he was with the Lizards, New York, 2015, and then Denver in 16. He's got back-to-back rings. Not quite a Brian Spallina handful, but not bad.
Spallina, who has 7 of those babies.
7. That's 2 hands full.
Scudin started to play lax in the 3rd grade with his twin brother Ian. Last check, Ian was a New York City firefighter.
Hey, quick to
Mike
go
is
here!
a teacher and a coach in Naples, Florida.
Wasserman's pass zips right by Hockerton. Turnover to Philadelphia. Scoreless so far, about 3 minutes into quarter 3. Expadian working back with Gibson. Gibson has a couple of goals if you're just tuning in with us, and a couple of beauties at that. Bounce shot on the way. Morocco kneels to deny. Right back come the Cannons with Cal Dirk. Dirk getting downhill, finds a seam, gunned it off the target. Quick reset, they find the open man. Waltzing down that slot area, Cole makes no mistake.
That's a bad substitution by Philadelphia. It all starts with Nick Morocco, the goalie, moving his feet on bounce shots. Joe, you remember at St. Anthony's when you get peppered with outside bounce shots, how you got to move your feet? Well, they get a good run out, and before Philadelphia is settled and set after a substitution defensively, they attack off the end line. A nice cut down the seam. An easy goal from Cole.
As we carry right along, Philadelphia now looks for an answer. They're trailing by a couple. Mazza waiting for subs to come on.
This is a danger zone for Philly. I know they're only down by 2, but I don't sense juice on their bench. I don't sense a hop in their step. Coming back from a deficit in an inferno is going to be real difficult.
We mentioned this is their 4th game in as many days to start the season. Mazza slips by and scores! John Mazza.
That's big. That's a big moment for John Mazza, rookie out of Towson. Tigers program that's had tremendous success. Sean Nadelin, Final Four in 2017. And Mazza, he fits the mold. 6'4", 207, righty. He hasn't seen a shorty since middle school. Love everything about that goal except right there. I would have flagged him. I got no tolerance for that. Quite honestly, if I'm a defender on the opposing team too, I'm going over there and bumping him and giving him a mouthful.
Referee Buchanan was right there, Q. Let everything go. 4 minutes into the 3rd. Courtney Fallon with more on a thirsty bunch of Philadelphia Barrage.
They could certainly need to hydrate in this heat. 4th game in 4 days, as we've talked about it. Spencer Ford, before that last goal, looked at me shaking his head, and he goes, "This is brutal. Guys are dropping left and right." He's having a hard time with the substitutions. He said, "We just have to find a way to eke this one out."
Temperatures throughout this week have been better than 90 degrees on the field, well over 100. Palasek, undaunted by that, dances around Corcoran. His pass was low for Kyle Marr. Marr attacked immediately by Hugel. Gets away from the defender's slash.
I think it goes back to what your training looked like over the last 2 months.
Off the split dodge, it's Sunday. Leaps in and fires a BB past Morocco.
They were on the verge of being run out of the stadium at 5-3, but then all of a sudden they get some juice from 2,000 Tigers. Mazza and now Sunday. I have tremendous respect for Brendan Sunday. His senior year at Towson was electric. He led the Tigers to a CAA championship in a first round near win over Maryland. This kid can play. He's big, he's smart, he's two-handed. He got better every single game playing for Sean Nadelin and Towson, and that is a goal that can turn this thing around.
A wicked shot. Reisman and Woodall at the face-off X. Woodall comes out of there, barreling to the cage. Sunday in a beautiful passing play. The score for Shane Jackson. 3 in a row for the Barrage, and they grab the lead for the first time today.
And the Towson trio involved again. We talked about Alex Woodall not being 100% today. Out the front side with an easy exit. Good handle. Woodall's got excellent skills for a Fogo. Puts that right on the money to the point man, who reads the defense like a quarterback. You read the coverage. You jam it down low to the righty or throw the skip pass. Sunday's eyes are up. He sees the coverage. He delivers a strike. 3 straight.
3 tallies in just under a minute. They made that look easy, like it was a fast break drill against air. Converted by Jackson. First lead for these Barrage. Just past the 5-minute mark in the third quarter. Carlson Milliken comes up and Philadelphia is starting to feel it.
Yeah, you feel the energy, Joe. You can see it. You can feel it. You hear the chirping on their sideline.
Way to go, Wayne! Right. Back left.
You hear all the defensive communication from the netminder Morocco. On around it comes for Gibson. Gibson in there against the short stick D efforts of Edwards. Mazza is next. Keeping it moving, Minikis and Palasek. Shot clock's at 20. Inside spin move, just bounced wide by Sunday. Good backup there. Mazza force-feeding Sunday again. Great hitch move, he scores! Brendan Sunday. Philadelphia, rocking and rolling. Good things happen, Q, right off the draw.
Any day of the week is a good day for Brendan Sunday. Been saying all along that he's got to be a star. Well, in the last 5 minutes, he's been by far the best player on the field. 2 goals and an assist, 4 straight for the Barrage.
Hey, Woody, keep eating, kid. Go.
All of a sudden, Philadelphia has a spark and a 7-5 lead. Our second half highlight presented by Sector Spider ETFs, the next chapter in investing.
Alex Woodall out the front. Because he's a respected, skilled athlete, they have to pick him up. Now, Sunday's got 2 options. He can look down low or through the skip pass. He's reading this defender right here. If you let this roll out, see his eyes are up. The defender comes across, leaving that vacancy down the backside. So great work by Woodall, unselfishly drawing the defender and keeping it simple, putting the ball in Sunday's stick. And then Sunday's the quarterback, reading the coverage. He's got 2 options there. A third would be to shoot. A fourth would be to throw it back to Woodall. But he makes the right read.
That graphic just showed you goals weren't easy to come by in the first 34 minutes, but in the last two in particular, the Barrage have awakened. Philadelphia Barrage, reborn into Major League Lacrosse this 2020 season. Palasek on the outside with McSpadden. McSpadden, a D2 All-American out of Mercy College. Philadelphia trying to improve upon its lead. The talented Palasek picked up there on the shake by the defender, Corcoran. Shot clock reaches 20. Palasek trying to get underneath. His pass gets away from Minikis. It'll be tracked down by Shane Jackson, who has a couple goals today. Shot clock at 10. Well outside the 2-point arc in Major League Lacrosse. That's 16 yards from the goal. On the dead run. Sharp angle. No chance there for Mars. That one bounced way wide.
Similar to Mikey Powell's shot back in the day for Boston that went over the dasher boards and pegged the cheerleader.
You ain't kidding.
But that's a good possession. I honestly think at this stage in the game, Philly's changed their body language entirely. It's a long possession. It ends with the ball going out of bounds on the far side, so they're able to sub their D on, so there's no transition. For not scoring a goal, that's a pretty decent possession.
Spencer Ford, we saw him on the sideline there, the head coach of Philadelphia. You know, he thought his team could be one of the best in this Major League Lacrosse season in 9 days on offense especially. They were working some new people in on D. They've had good goaltending for Madelon, solid defense cover to cover, held a high-powered Boston team to just 5. Wasserman on the dive! A crease violation against the lunging attackman for the Cannons, gives the ball back to the guys in orange.
Wasserman shaking up now behind the play.
He goes Superman on the right side of your screen.
Wow, what a call by the ref. You can see the pellets. He was dragging his toe and kicked up some pellets in that crease, which is a 9-foot radius.
Gilly!
Mazza will invert here, Q, against Challen Rogers.
Gilly! 75.
Mazza off the shake, makes the dish. Palasek fires. That was weakened on the way by Hooper, and no worries at all for Morocco.
Fantastic closeout by Scott Hooper. Virginia Cavalier, 2018, the guy who logged a lot of miles in Charlottesville, played 62 games.
Quint, he played for both Dom Starzia and Lars Tiffany as a head coach there.
He did. You know, his dad, Scott's dad, Paul, was a great player at Washington College and then a head coach at Vermont, an assistant at Carolina back when they won the title in '86. But Scott has good relationships, like he's pretty tied into the lacrosse world. He's remained tight with Coach Starzia, and he's got a friendship through his dad with Mike Pressler, the current coach up at Bryant.
So much so he calls him Uncle Mike. So I hear.
I'm surprised that Scott hasn't gone into coaching himself. Works for a private bank, I believe, up in New England.
5.5 to go in the third. If you're just checking in with us, bottom of the hour, Joe and Quint with the upstairs. Courtney Fallon is our sideline reporter. 3 cheers for all the men and women in our technical crew. They've been helping us out all week. This slingshot comes from Minikis off the outside of the goal.
But Joe, what makes it special for guys like Scott Hooper, and for me, quite honestly, is the relationships built with your coaches, okay? It's not a transactional thing. It's a holistic lifetime. You know, he can turn to Dom Starzia now as adults and have great conversations. The same with Mike Pressler. I can do the same with Coach Zim, you know, who'll be here tomorrow with the Booker Corrigan.
Where we got it?
Scott Hooper, as you can tell right there on the screen now in his 3rd season as a pro. You were telling me that Scott calls Don Starzia a lifetime mentor.
You know, and that to me is like the strongest takeaway from my college lacrosse experience. To be coached by a Brian Holman, who I can text right now, asking him how I should raise my daughter. You know, to talk to Coach Zim about being a dad.
Edwards on the go, looking for Cockerton, stopped there by Madelon. And we get such great cooperation from the players, from the coaches. It's easy to see why they hold people like Dom Starzia in such high regard. 4:20 to play, 3rd quarter, 7-5. We had a scoring spree from the Barrage recently. 4 goals, 4 points on the board in less than a couple minutes as Morocco helps on the clear.
the great thing about coaching lacrosse. Until recently, like, the financial wasn't there for these coaches. It is now. But guys went into it because A, they love the game, and B, they wanted to help develop young men. And they had the best intentions. And they've done that.
4 great coaches for us. Even more than that when you consider their staffs, but 4 great head coaches to work with today. Stotts turns the corner on Nowesnick, who leans in. Stotts fights through that, bounces it wide. Wasserman angles towards the cage, picked up by the short stick.
Green,
go! Shot clock at 9.
Green! Double!
Here comes the double. Quick ball movement, just explodes away from Jackson off a wonderful pass from Stotts. Shot clock violation against Boston. Helter skelter. We make our break to commercial. 3:20 to go in this third quarter. Philadelphia was down, but down no longer. Mazza, Sunday, keep it hot there for Jackson. Finish it off with a little more Sunday school. 7-5 Barrage down the stretch in the third.
Hey, Brian, what we're discussing here. One huddle, we'll get the guys in, we'll talk about what we want to do. Pay attention, guys, bring it in. Guys, bring it in. Defense, bring it in so we're all on the same page, please. Mads, get them in here. Hey, come on, let's go. Offense, way to go, boys, way to go. Everyone, Mads, you're firing. So listen. Hey, real quick, guys, real quick. 83's going to start to try to take it over, okay? It's been like it's what we want it to be, right? Nothing cheap afterwards. Go after us a little bit, nothing cheap. Our cheap will be to keep loading them in on the scoreboard, okay? Guys, slow the pace down. Slow it down. We started to score, we had some fun, and now we're going fast as fuck. We can't go that fast. One voice here and Doc. And listen, we're clearing the ball from behind our goal. Witcher, kick the ball up. Okay, you got Liam and Eddie are the 2 close guys, okay, with the goalie. Okay, we're going to get 3 middies. Let's do a fresh for me. Who's fresh? Middies. All right, so I got Mazza, Tyson, and Callie. How you feeling? I'm good. I'll be either one. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. You guys are lined up.
Who else has gotten goals today? Mazza?
Philadelphia Barrage feeling a bit better about themselves right now. They have a 7-5 lead with 3:22 left to go in the third. Here's Courtney Fallon with more on the Philly offense.
Joe, you talk about on-field chemistry, getting back to this tournament very quickly. The advantage here is with Philly. They've got a trio on attack that has been putting up points in bunches for years now. Tommy Palasek, Shane Jackson, and Brendan Sunday combined last year, 95 goals, 61 assists. That's the highest scoring total in the league. And it's no surprise here. They're doing it again so far through 3 games, 36 points. Coming into this game, of course, they're adding a bunch of other guys on offense. And you know what? Keeping Boston on their toes, that's the most important thing right now.
Courtney recognizing the fire starters for the offense for Philadelphia nowadays. You think back to when the Barrage were a dynasty team, 04, 06, 07 champs. Guys, names like Strebel and Colsey and Springer and Boyle were their headliners.
The championship they won out at Los Angeles, Joe. We froze our tail off that day in LA with the breeze coming off the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
The midfield 1-2 punch of Colsey and Strebel in that championship game was as good as I've ever seen. The way those two controlled and dominated that game.
Fantastic. Just incredible.
A little bit of everything.
Strebel, who could run all day. Colsey, who could shoot it through a brick wall.
Whether it was dodging, step-down shots, cuts, transition goals, settled goals, dodging from the wing, from up top. It was a clinic.
Fun.
Yeah.
So much fun to watch.
2 all-timers, 2 Hall of Famers at the peak of their game operating together.
Who's going? Who's going?
Down memory lane in the past, and now currently with Philadelphia and Boston both trying to get into the semifinal action in 2020. This Major League Lacrosse season,
Hey, we're
O'Connor
good,
ran
we're
right
good.
into a stiff double team check there.
Hey, watch
Wasserman hovering on the goal line. On the step, working to the outside. This one is just sent wide, and we do see now Mark
Let's finish
Ivanchek,
it.
41 in orange, on the field defensively for the Barrage.
Get above
He
him.
was not available earlier to start matters today. Sharp angle, Cockerton nails the net.
I was about to put a missing persons report out for Mark Cockerton, who had such a great season a year ago with 43 goals. This play is effective because he works his defender. He drags his defender into the help position as you look at Cockerton. And when his player doubles and jumps the ball carrier, he avails himself.
We return to the face-off X nip and tuck in this game between Philadelphia and Boston. The Barrage playing their 4th game in as many days, a mark of 1-2. The Cannons at 1-1. Only the top 4 will qualify for playoffs. See the face-off story level, but by Friday night we will know our semifinal participants. Chesapeake cruising to start. The defending champs have won 3 in a row. They're off today. This drive is deposited by McSpadden.
This is a great example of a pick and split. Watch him. He'll fake the pick right here, and then I think he rolls off this way. Watch it here. On the perimeter, 2 defenders are lost in the wash. They cross paths. Nice little 2-man game in space from the high wing. McSpadden and Jackson.
McSpadden, who tallied against Connecticut yesterday, obviously liked the taste of that. Gets himself back on the board. It's a 2-point lead with 90 seconds to go in the third. Violation here. Off the draw, going to give the ball to the Boston Cannons. 60-second shot clock in Major League Lacrosse. The arc is 16 yards to the cage. Can one from back there, you'll get 2 points. Chris Madelon, a season ago, surrendered a bunch from deep. This was the field where Madelon had his season-high save game, 21 last year against Chesapeake.
What's the big? Get over that. Get over that.
Wasserman. He scores! Wasserman again finding room.
All I do is run. That's it.
Straight line speed. Again, a pick set at X. Ivanchuk really struggles with it. There's no defensive communication or switch there. As you look at the standings, Wasserman now with a pair of speed dodges for goals.
So the Denver Outlaws at 2-0. They'll be playing in the nightcap tonight. Scheduled start time 7 p.m. Eastern here at Navy Marine Corps Memorial. They'll tangle with the New York Lizards. Connecticut and Chesapeake have the day off. Not many for these 6 teams in Major League Lacrosse, fighting for a title that will be settled on Sunday on ESPN.
Wasserman, spoke to him earlier this week, Joe. He's a law student, University of Miami, sports and entertainment law. Charismatic young man. Texas, Grapevine, Texas. This heat is nothing for him.
It's true. He says he's never been away from the game of lacrosse this long in his young life. Wasserman, 24 years of age. All these guys thrilled to be back on the field in 2020.
Yeah, and that was echoed by Mark Cockerton when I talked to him, Joe. He said he's been playing lacrosse every summer since he was 4 years old.
20 seconds left in this third quarter. Gibson will give it up to Palasek. Palasek will try on Corcoran for size. Little slip screen there with Gibson. Inside roll. Bounce shot, score! Excellent work from Gibson.
Barrage goal scored by number 43, Tyson Gibson.
This guy's something else.
Gibson.
He is something else. His third, Robert Morris. I mean, you look at the body control on the wing, use of angles. It's a classic inside roll, shield the stick, and roll back to space. Okay, your hips and shoulders are critical in protecting your stick along with your elbows, and then your eye control. Your eyes will dictate what the defense does. He's able to look off the defender, kind of hint that he may pass, which delays the double team. He's also deceptive on the finish.
Yesterday's double dip was full of highlight plays. Gibson's taking care of the highlight reel today. His hat trick has been brilliant. Reisman gets the draw. Time's a wasted, 2 seconds left. Reisman will shovel this on out, and we are done with 3 here at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Gibson honoring his Robert Morris fallen late teammate Jack Toom, showing off here with a little concerted effort from Palasek. Gibson, all he needs is a sliver of space, and Philly has the lead. When you check out the score by quarter in Major League Lacrosse action, we celebrate our 20th anniversary season. You see that the Philadelphia Barrage, much more like their fancy, a 6-goal second and third quarter rather, improving their lead to 2 with 15 minutes to play.
Always unpredictable. You never know what to expect to see. And typically, Joe, in our 20 years covering this league, you see something new every game, something that catches your attention.
Boston head coach Sean Quirk was saying Philadelphia has an excellent, balanced offense. They're patient. They've shown it off, and they awakened in that third quarter. Courtney Fallon has more from the Boston sideline.
Overhearing their fourth quarter just discussion here on the sidelines, they said, listen, we're going to need a hell of a fourth quarter here to make a difference, but we are going to lay it all out on the field, alluding to the fatigue factor here. Sean Quirk incessant about saying that the patience on offense and taking longer draws is the most important way to win.
See if they can cash in on this trip, Courtney. Cockerton dancing in against the short stick D of Milliken. Tries the roll dodge there, shot clocks at 15. Settles, works off of a pick. Coming back for it, Riley O'Connor. Finds the open Wasserman a long way from the cooker. Through that seam, it's Cockerton taking his eyes off of that one. Turnover to the Barrage. Early stages of the fourth. Philadelphia, should it hold on, improves to 2-2. Boston would fall to 1-2. Denver and New York to come later on tonight as they battle to be among the top 4 teams in Major League Lacrosse by Friday night when the regular season comes to its end.
John Mazza with the ball, Brendan Sunday, and Alex Woodall. The trio from Towson, they've been the catalysts in the second half.
They really sparked it at the time there when Philadelphia was down 5-3. Sunday and Jackson with 3 quick goals. On the quick flick, the sharp angle for Jackson, nothing there. Morocco is pinned to the post. You're hearing all the activity on field level through microphones that are on our officials or attached to the goal frames. You're hearing a lot of communication from the sideline, assistant coaches barking out their coordinator instructions. O'Connor against his opposite number, Jokum. Stotts is next. Nowesnik with him. Stotts leans in. Here comes a double from Buall. Beautifully timed to make that strip.
I mean, that is textbook double team. Nowesnik is a tough cover, man. He is strong with the cross-handed hold. He sits down really well. He's physical. And Buhol, when he saw the name on the back of the jersey, timed that perfectly.
Boston, though, gets possession again. Zach Goodrich is going to trade this off to the offensive-minded Cockerton, the offensive captain for these Cannons.
It's a bad turnover. That's a bad turnover. Let's see if they pay for it.
Who's hot means who's the help. Which defender is coming to help on Cole?
I never like to say that as a goalie. You don't want to be asking questions as a goalie. If that's coming from Madeline, I'm not sure where that's coming from. But you'd say, hey, Joe, you're hot.
You're telling the defender who's going. On a dive shot, score! Madeline thinks it's a crease violation. Cole says otherwise, and the officials say good goal.
The turnover, the sloppy turnover at the midfield led to this. Cole is the captain of the crease. Tiptoe goes airborne. Madeline wants the call. I don't think he's going to get it, even if this is reviewed. You have the coaching staff looking at the big screens here at Navy Marine Corps Stadium. That ball's in the net before he lands as Cole goes airborne. Brian Coles is just so skillful.
Right through him.
5th year as a pro, 4th year as a pro now. Maryland Terp, 2016. He played in 3 title games. He was a great passer as a college midi.
Tight battle at the face-off X as it's been all day between Reisman and Woodall for the most part. Boston gets control on this draw. Corcoran already has a goal today. This one's a nail-biter between Philly and Boston. Relatively low scoring by Major League Lacrosse standards with 11 minutes to go in regulation.
That one turnover, Joe, is going to come back to bite him. Just a sloppy turnover that shouldn't have happened after you made a defensive stand, and now all of a sudden you're under intense pressure defensively.
Jackson gets around Tolliver. Rogers leaning in on Witcher. Move it up top outside the arc. Wasserman from deep. That was blocked by Burns, who led all of Major League Lacrosse and caused turnovers last year. Skipping there on the sideline. Nice work by Woodall to keep it alive for Philly.
Buhall's a nice player. I like the double team earlier. He's got good wheels. He's really active. His head lacrosse coach, Larry Glenn's, told me he's like the king of chaos back at Limerick High School. It's where I played.
Buhall, an all-Patriot League defender out of Lehigh. As you watch things shape up in front of Morocco from this end zone look, Philadelphia trying to pad a 1-point lead. Gibson. He wants to invert. He'll take Edwards below the goal line.
He needs help here on this matchup defensively.
Palasek swings it up top, long range. Sizzler goes wide from Mazza. Shot clock's at 14. Gibson drives in earnest, kicks it out. They work it inside. Score! Sunday.
Yes, Sunday.
Brendan Sunday having himself a day this Tuesday. Sunday lurking in front, makes the finish, finds the back of the goal. When this one hits the twine, it's 10-8 here in Annapolis.
Right there on You took him with you. Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, looking for foots in the line. Yeah, everything. Just show me everything we got here. All your feeds.
Because look at his feet. Look at his feet. No, ball's already.
Throw your flag. He wouldn't throw the flag. You got to throw the flag.
One minute, guys. 1 minute. See if they can freeze frame.
Can you freeze frame it? Can you freeze frame it right as soon as it makes contact? Right.
No contact yet.
No contact. Keep going.
Keep going.
Right. Go forward.
Goes on your side. You guys are the
Forward. Forward.
No, bitch, you.
Wait for it.
There.
That's Peter over there.
No goal.
Question.
So goalie's still in the crease.
Goalie's still in the cylinder. No goal. No goal.
I know what you know.
Kidding.
The question is, has the ball.
He has the ball.
After review, no goal. No goal. Why do you need us?
Across Indianapolis, you're seeing a washout sign from official Peter Buchanan. They reviewed that last Sunday goal, and they're going to take it down off the board.
Goalie interference, okay? You cannot touch the goalie in the cylinder before the ball goes in the net. You see the follow-through by Sunday hits Morocco in the right shoulder as the ball deflects off the goalie's shoulder and in. Second look now. His feet are good. He's not in the crease, but to see the follow-through right there hits the goaltender before the ball crosses the plane. By rule, goalie interference, goal wiped off the board.
9 minutes and 37 seconds to play. Philadelphia bench fired up. They were not believing in that call.
I begged for that call for maybe every game I ever played in my entire life. Referees never made it.
Going this way, 3 foot.
That's a next level call with the aid of video, obviously.
All of it had to happen before the ball crossed the plane.
And the fact that the ball hit Morocco in the shoulder and slowed it down.
Absolutely. That's the reason.
Prevented Sunday from not following through. And Morocco was pretty aggressive on his line, too, Joe, coming out to try to cut down the angle.
And in a game that's this tight-knit, that could be huge. The Sunday tally, which would have been his hat-trick goal, taken off the board after review. Challen Rogers gets inside against Burns, puts the shovel there for Kyle Jackson. Backpedaling away.
Just a series of two-man games, a lot of picking on the perimeter.
Rogers into the shoulder, goes behind the back with that pass. It's deflected down. Philadelphia going to come out of there with it. It's Milliken. Milliken trying to run through a potential hold there. The sideline thought it was a hold on the Philly front. Palasek cruising into the offensive third. Time's a wasted now, 8:45 to go in the fourth. Real good lacrosse game between the Barrage and the Cannons.
Shane, go get the ball. Give it to him.
As Marr tiptoes around that 2-point line.
Whoa! Hey, drive up, Coles. Drive up. Colsey, drive up. Get it.
Cole leans in defensively. Quick passing to the goal mouth. Just sent wide.
Hey, I got 2 forwards.
This is trickle to the end line. Backed up there. Shot clock was reset.
You can really feel the tension mounting in this game. What's on the line? Well, I think the winner is going to make the postseason tournament, the top 4, barring a complete collapse. So there's a lot at stake right now.
There's a lot of chatter on the field, as you can tell. The intensity in this game ratcheting up now in the fourth with 8 minutes left.
Gilly!
Jackson
Upfield.
turns, fires, and scores! Shane Jackson would not be denied.
No. Sit right there.
29-year-old coaches young kids. Done a lot of small group coaching during the pandemic. Pump fake. Just given too much real estate there, too much space. Look, I'm going to step back. Step back is sometimes the easiest way for a shooter to free up his hand. So you initiate contact and step back, create separation, and then let it rip.
Jackson, who had 3 in the loss to Denver, has 3 today. Boston now trailing by 2, in need of a possession via a face-off win from Reisman as he draws against Woodall. Reisman popped it up in the air. They'll fight for it. Corcoran gets tripped up. They allow play to continue, and Corcoran comes up with a big ground ball. Only Denver had more ground balls per game than the Cannons last year. Pugel thought about the two. Jokum there to bum rush Edwards from behind, and we hear the whistles.
Hey, what number?
Spencer Ford's been in the beaten sun 4 days in a row.
Peter.
Hey, what number?
3 red. 3 red.
3
with a hole. I heard you calling
These officials have done a wonderful job, Joe, basically servicing both benches. Again, we're on opposite sides of the field. Boston's on the far side, Philly's on the near. Very different for the sport of lacrosse. New for the referees, players, and coaches. The refs have done a good job sorting things out, communicating with the coaches.
Here we go.
They also said they like this layout better because there's less barking between opposing teams.
Boston coach Sean Quirk said of Philadelphia's defense, it's a physical bunch. Madelon gives them a lot of reason to believe. Right now, Boston and Coach Quirk would like to pierce them and move within one or perhaps tie this score. Through the seam beautifully, Stotts was denied there. Madelon got back to the post, and Buhal has it for Philadelphia. We drift below 7 minutes to go in this one, just past the top of the hour in Annapolis. Joe Beninati, Quint Kesnick upstairs. Courtney Fallon is our sideline reporter. Back and forth today between the Barrage and the Cannons. For now, the guys in the orange jerseys have the lead. Philadelphia converting on one of its 2 extra men today. Boston has not clicked on 3 EMO chances.
2-man with Shane and Ryan. Everybody else, get out. Here we go.
Philly's found a new level of play in this game, Joe, since being down 5-3 early third quarter. It's like a new team.
Expadian.
You're good.
Morocco continues to bark out the set defensively as this one's shoveled wide of the goal.
Hey, here. You whistle. Hey, Colin, go hard.
It'll stay Philadelphia ball. Minikis being encouraged to go to the goal against Brewster. Brewster, a 4-time captain in college. As the whistle comes, it's a shot clock violation against Philadelphia. Spencer Ford continues to give the traffic instructions. Turnovers mounting on both sides. Off that little zigzag, it's Upgren. Brown fires. Madelon got a piece of that, so there'll be a fresh 60-second shot clock.
Off the top of his plastic.
Just enough.
No push up.
Wasserman around the pick.
Hey, we're on. Get aside.
Bryce Wasserman on the dead run. Quick pass there. Cockerton inside. He scores! Mark Cockerton.
Don't go for the hit. Hit is everything. Don't go for it.
This is something else. I mean, the body control and stick control. Mark Cockerton, the Oshawa, Ontario native, whose dad, Stan, was a legend. In fact, Mark and Stan, the #1 father-son combo in Division I lacrosse history. You'll see 41 on this side, right here. Hitch and go. Just that little suddy, and you see Tolliver's upset with himself. Cockerton sets that up. You know, establishing himself as a great mid-range shooter, it pays its dividends. It's a pump, defender too aggressive on his approach, and then you're by him.
Cockerton, who had 4 against New York in a win in the opener, has a couple today. It's 10-9. Philadelphia has the ball. Gilray going to the goal. Quick trigger just sent wide by Stotts. He had some room there on the far side.
Stop here.
Boston has the advantage on the draws today. Philadelphia leads where it matters most. 4.5 to go in the fourth. O'Connor bluffs the 2. Stotts is also outside the arc, and he does his best work closer to the goal. Stotts off the swim. Defender lost his footing. Stotts hesitates. Big face dodge. Score! Randy Stotts. Plenty to love in this lacrosse game today. Good defense, great goaltending, and the stick work and footwork isn't too bad as well. Stotts, just enough room. This game, brand new with 4:19 to go. So nice to have you today once again in Annapolis, Maryland. We are inside of Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. As far as what's at stake, Quinn Kesnick, this game is big for both of these squads for obvious reasons on screen.
I mean, this next 4 minutes is really going to determine the path of the rest of your week. Quite honestly, winner of this game is probably getting in the postseason grid. Loser still with a lot of work to do. So here we go. I mean, this is it for these two teams.
Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium
Get up.
underwent, 4 phases of renovation, most recently completed back in 2015. We're just about a couple miles from the main campus of the U.S. Naval Academy, enjoying this Major League Lacrosse action with 4 minutes to go in the fourth. The pandemic-shortened 2020 season, all being conducted over a 9-day span. Upgren has the ball for Boston. Riley O'Connor is next against Milliken. Feed it for Brown. He'll fire. That was blocked. Shot clock at 25. No hurry for Boston. Wasserman, though, speeds off the edge. Skip a man on through to O'Connor. Brown sets the pick. Wasserman off the split dodge. Fires one. That's wide of the cage. Guarded by Chris Madelon.
No restart. Important to point, both teams still have 2 timeouts.
Shot clock's at 8. Quick passing. Score! Riley O'Connor. 3 unanswered for Boston.
Dagger off the restart. O'Connor is right here. The defense is just caught sleeping inside. Late on the scene. That's, we hear the talking. We're picking up all this talking in our mics, Joe. That's clearly a scenario defensively. The ball goes out of bounds. I'm calling numbers.
Witcher was the guy who was late, recognizing that his man was O'Connor.
Check up. I got 12. Who's got 45?
This run for the Cannons coming in a little less than 2 minutes. Very much changing the complexion of the game. Violation called against Boston. Possession for Philadelphia now, and we'll see how the Barrage manage the time. Now trailing by 1 with 3 minutes to go. Palasek quickly off the flank. Bring it back behind for Minikis.
Ran Palasek out of the box, Joe, which is interesting.
Gibson on the sweep. Shovel back for Sunday. Nice roll dodge. He zings it wide. The backup is there for Philadelphia, closest to the ball on a shot where and when it leaves. St. Jackson has it. Shot clock halfway through. Gibson hesitates. Neat move to get under. Tried to flick it inside, but the only man waiting was Matt Gilray for Boston. Now let's see how the Cannons will manage the time.
Scoring clock.
Riley O'Connor just going to walk it ahead. It was the O'Connor goal a few moments ago that's given Boston the lead. Nail-biting time for these two squads.
Listen for it.
O'Connor on the go. Measured by Milliken. Stotts wants it in his cross. He'll direct some traffic. Shot clock at 20. Stotts behind the back. Nice move. Upgren fires. He scores! John Upgren.
Dagger. You called it, Joe. You see the little flip pass. And Upgren again, taking advantage of an approach. Boom, change of direction, creates separation. So the last 3 goals we've seen from Boston all capitalized on some just subtle defensive mistakes. whether it was Cockerton with the hitch and go, Stotts with the face dodge, O'Connor getting open on the out of bounds on the restart, or Upgren changing directions to capitalize on the defensive movement.
That was an ankle breaker for Whitmire. Whitmire not able to stay with him. Upgren converts, and then Boston adds insult to injury by winning the next draw. Cockerton wisely pulls it out and away from the cage as his team can run precious time. 12-10 for Boston, 1:18 to go. If Philadelphia falls, they fall to 1-3. Boston would improve to 2-1. Not settled yet.
Philly needs a stop and then a 2 to tie.
Witcher guarding O'Connor. Shot clock at 20. Game clock less than a minute.
Boston gets a restart. They're going to run to victory.
Stotts angles in, fires one. That's an easy grab for Madelon. 40 seconds to go. Philly needs 2. 20 seconds to clear the midline. No worries there for Tolliver. He'll jog it ahead, and Philadelphia will ask for time.
Right here, guys. Hey, right there is good.
Get up, Whit.
Hey, I'm dropping down.
Spencer Ford gathers the guys around. Into the classroom they go, needing 2 to tie.
You look at Boston.
Quint, our Progressive defensive play of the game. It's brought to you by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance.
Terrific double team by the defense. Buhol, 40, comes across and sneaks up on the offensive player. That's your best time to double and slide. When you see the name tag on the back of the jersey, when the player's head is turned, and he takes the correct approach and basically bookends the player with the ball, and they pinch the turnover. So great timing, awareness, and execution by Buhol.
This is the first of 2 today. Denver and New York to follow at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Philadelphia needs 2 to tie. The guys in blue getting their defensive assignments figured out.
These are difficult scenarios because if you're Philly, you need the 2, obviously. So Boston's going to do what? They're going to press out. They're going to challenge. They're going to defend the arc, much like in basketball. And that may open up an opportunity down below for a 1. Do you trust your face-off man then to win a draw and potentially tie the game? So watch how the defense presses out to try to deny the deuce.
As far as distance shooters go, I would think Sunday or Mazza would be the guys delivering should they go from behind the arc. It is Mazza here, stopped by Morocco. The 2-point bid was stopped. There are 20 seconds left. Boston can run time for the balance of regulation. Shot clock turned off. Stotts will hide in the corner. Boston with a spirited fourth quarter rally. The last 4 goals on the board. And it's going to be the Cannons in the winner's circle today by the final count of 12-10.
Boston Cannons 12, Philadelphia Barrage 10.
The Boston Cannons outscoring Philadelphia 5-1 in the fourth for head coach Sean Quirk. And Boston improves to 2-1 with that decision. High fives all around for the Cannons as we now take a peek at Major League Lacrosse's regular season standings. This is day 4. Chesapeake on top at 3-0. They're idle today. The win for Boston propels them into 3rd. Philadelphia, a day off tomorrow, just 1 game left. They've got the Lizards on Thursday.
It's going to be a must-win for the Barrage. Think about Boston. Tough little turnaround. They played last night. They got off the field slightly before midnight. You got to come back on an inferno hot day, and they got it done in the fourth quarter. This was a weird game, Joe, from a tempo standpoint. Slow defensive game early, opened up in the third and fourth quarter with some great goal scoring and playmaking.
As we send it to Courtney Fallon, she's with Riley O'Connor.
That run coming in the last 2 minutes for Boston. Talk about that last play, just the come from behind win. What did you see?
I mean, it was a great kind of grinded out win. Slow start, but we stuck to it. Obviously took everyone, shared the ball really well, moved really well, and came together late.
At one point, Boston, you guys had a 23-minute scoring drought. What was the momentum change?
I think we were playing pretty good offense. We just needed one to drop. The goalie was making saves. Once we got one to drop, we just kept rolling. Kept it simple, played hard.
I was sitting behind your bench. You guys said, fake it till you make it. You found a new level of confidence, of energy in that fourth quarter. Talk about the resolve of this team to come from behind once again.
Yeah, I think it's just mental toughness. You know, a lot of guys work hard on their own, and it's hot, but it's the same for both teams. So just mentally, who wants it more? That's what it comes down to.
Well, congratulations. You guys are 2-1. Looking good headed into the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boston feeling good. Philadelphia exactly the opposite. This one gets away from the Barrage in the fourth quarter as Riley O'Connor was our Powerade player of the game, presented by Powerade. More power for more. Nick Morocco and the Boston Cannons did the job extremely well today. For Quint Kesnick, for Courtney Fallon, for all the men and women in our crew, Joe Beninati, thanks for your time. Coming up at 7, more MLL action. The Outlaws and the Lizards. Today, Boston fires away in the fourth to victory.
Boston Cannons Championship Run 2020 season replay brought to you by Suffolk Construction.